Hey, everybody. This is our happy Mental Monday. It also happens to be the beloved Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s day. We're so excited to be able to come on such a historic commemorative time. And before we do anything else on this Mental Monday, we'd like to give all of our shout outs to everyone. And before I do that, I want to first give a shout out to the late, great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who I believe I am a speaker today and a person who's passionate about words, primarily because of my mother, that's one, but also because of him. As a child, I found his speeches, his words, his movement to be very uplifting, soul stirring, and encouraging. I read every single thing that I could find about Dr. Martin Luther King. I learned about his life. And so I'm excited to be able to be here on this particular Mental Monday, talking about a man who has done great things for a lot of people. And I'll give my shout outs and then we'll go back into Dr. Martin Luther King. Ashanti, so glad for you to be on. God bless you so much. My sister Tiffany and birthday girl, hello to you. I love you so much. We are ecstatic to be here. I feel all disco-y with my bright color dress on today. I'm excited because a lot of great things has transpired in the last 24 hours. And because of those things, we're able to come to you. I love you too. And we are past due for our lunch birthday celebration. I think this year I owe you another book, and I have a book in mind for you too. This year there's a book I want you to read. Ashanti, yes, I have a book that I want you to read too. This year we're going to do a lot of reading. Pastor Valerie Blackmore, blessings to you. I'm so glad for you to join on today. Make sure if you guys can to share this particular Mental Monday. I'm so grateful to you guys. We are getting our viewership up. Last time we had almost 150 people viewing at the same time. And by the end of the day, we had more than 600 people that viewed it. For me, that is a blessing. I am super duper excited as we prepare for actually getting our own talk show this year. That is the goal, to be on national TV all over the world. And so we are starting to infiltrate by virtual way of the internet and online. And we're so excited to be able to do that. We spend this time I just got from one of my media team members the logo stuff for our big project. And I'm like, so it pays to pay for what you believe in. I believe in what I'm doing and have believed in that for the last 7 to 8 years, even though I was broke most of the time, but broke is temporary, poor is a mindset, and I don't have that mindset. And so when I look back, thousands of people impacted, it's been worth it to me for us to take the brand and everything to the next level. And while I'm here, let me just give a few shout outs to some people who always make sure that my brand is going forward. And I have to give them their kudos right now. Because they're always financially pouring into my ministry, which is the Wake Global Outreach Ministry. That is Elaine Brannon, who's the CEO and founder of Revival's Health Center in Nevada. Dr. Laura Lyons, who is a philanthropist and phenomenal woman in the Bay Area. She always supports me financially. Amalia Gambles, who is just phenomenal. You will see her. She's a protege. She's a mentee. Who will do greater things than I will ever do. She always supports this ministry. And because of their financial support, we have great things happening. We have been helping a lot of both men and women to break into the marketplace ministry. And this year, starting January the 30th all the way to December 2018, we will have helped 1,000 people, particularly women first, and anything else beside that will be great. But we will have helped 1,000 women to start their ministry, job, business, go back to school. 1,000 women. We're going to be helping them to do that. And that's called our Wake Influencers program. Wake Influencers program. So chime in. I'll be sharing more about that on January the 30th with our Wake Global Live Forum that we're doing online. So make sure you connect with us. Our Awake Ambassadors program is coming in full speed. So we're excited about that. And we'll be taking 8 women that are ready to say, I want to do some things. I want to not only know the call of God on my life, I want to answer the call. So get ready. I'll be sincerely choosing 8 women across the country that are ready to not only be Awake Ambassador, but who say, you know what, I want to be a trailblazer in what you're doing. And I want to be a leader in other parts of the states. So if that's you, make sure you connect with our office and we will be glad to help you. So Sabine, Dr. Mathis, and I'll be calling on you too, my sister, because I believe you have a heart for marketplace ministry, and I can't do it alone. We've got 50 states to target. I have to have 12 directors, which will have 5 states. Each director will have 5 states, and they will be over. And we are excited. We're already in 2 states right now, which is Nevada and California. We'll be working on New Jersey, where my sister Lori McNeil is at. So they've already given us the go to create some wake stuff out there. So if you're serious about it, we don't post a lot of what we're doing. We're just doing it. So if you want to be a part of this, just doing it, then join us. This is not about Lakita. It's about a God movement that he said it's time to infiltrate the world system. And trust me, he's given me the downloads of how we do that. So if you can follow my lead as I follow Christ, we're going to get there, and it's going to be powerful, and it's going to be beautiful. If you don't have an ego and you're willing to pull up your sleeves and to work and utilize the smart intellectual skills that God has given you, then contact us, and we are going to move forward as a unit, powerfully connected to the vine, which is Jesus Christ. So we're so excited. Sheila Posey, Zelma Johnson, thank you so much. Tusetta, my sister, Tusetta, blessings to you. We are excited. Yes. And what you missed, the only thing you missed, we're just doing some shout outs. And I was just also giving some announcements about where we're going with the Wake Global Outreach Ministries. I'll be doing a live global forum on Facebook on January the 30th, so you guys can know what's coming up. We have 3 different aspects of that ministry, and definitely chime in. We have the Wake Ambassadors, Wake Influencers, which is the program that we've launched this year to help 1,000 women. 1,000 women start their ministry and or business and or both, combine it. But we're also imploring women and men to go back to school. So I'm a college faculty member at a college, and so my heart has always been there. I've helped a lot of people matriculate through school, and we're excited about the opportunity. So let's join in forces and let's do something great. Share this video as we get ready to get started, and then we're going to go from there. I'm excited. Thank you for letting me just be me. I just had to scream, right? I had to scream. So I put on my purple glasses. Purple is one of my favorite colors. And so we're just going where we believe we always should have been and should be. I can only participate in what I believe I am. And I believe I'm a talk show host. I believe that I am called to speak and empower and inspire the masses. And every Monday you help me to facilitate that process. And I'm ever, ever grateful to each and every last one of you. I pray that it is never a waste of your time. I pray that your spirit man is lifted. I pray that your soul is elevated. And I pray that you would take the information and use it for the betterment of your life and the life of other people. And so with that being said, let's get right into our topic for today. This topic is an interesting topic because I have found myself having been around a lot of passive aggressive people. And we don't know, but there's such a hidden hostility for passive aggressive people. And for those that don't know, this is our Mental Monday show. My name is Lakita Long, and it's one of our program shows for the Lakita Long Show. And we're so glad that you have chimed in to a place where we talk about real issues. We talk about real solutions in real time. And we're grateful that you have come so we can talk about something that's mental and find out how we create an opportunity for you to grow and be better than you were the day before. So we are here to discuss it. So let's just jump right into it. So passive aggressive people, passive aggressive behaviors. Let's talk about it. It arises when an individual feels powerless and they lack a strong voice in a challenging environment. So I'm going to stop right there. So passive aggressive behavior comes about when the individual lacks a strong voice or they feel powerless in a very challenging environment. Such can be the case, for example, if a husband conscientiously deals with his mother issues through his wife. The passive aggressive person in this instance, out of fear of being dominated by his mother, will set up a system of survival and resistance towards complying with whatever he thinks his wife is doing. The same can be true for a wife if she has passive aggressive behaviors as well. But here's the issue about passive aggressive behavioral people and people that display it, is that because it is complex, it's deep-seated, you can't really know where it comes from. And it can happen at any given time. What you do know is that it dominates how they infiltrate their relationship with you. So let's give it even more of an example. In a romantic and sometimes a non-romantic way, many relationships for passive aggressive people, they subconsciously choose a partner with whom he or she can reenact, watch this, power struggles of their past based on the psychological familiarity that they once had. What they try to do is attach themselves to people that they can reenact a time when they had no power, and they try to reenact it so that they can regain power in that particular relationship. But they have no real desire to actually connect with that man or that woman. They simply want to win what they feel like they lost from a past relationship. Woo, that's cold-blooded. And yet, they do it to the point where they will show up in this format: disregarding, dismissive. They will call you and then all of a sudden stop calling you. And it's not necessarily anything you've done as much as it is their sort of silent payback from possibly what another woman or man has done to them. So let's give an example in a relationship situation of a passive aggressive behavioral person. Let's say you meet somebody, and when you meet him, he is nice and kind. And excuse me, I'm a little bit under the weather, but he's nice and kind, and he treats you well. And then all of a sudden, without notice, he stops treating you well, and you haven't done anything to change. You've been nice and kind and sweet. You guys haven't been intimate or anything of that nature, but he starts to change. And so what happens is you sort of inquire about the change, and then what you get on the back end is this sort of silent treatment, this wall treatment, this non-responsive treatment. They might not text you back for a couple of days. When you call them, they might sound indifferent, or they might put you into another category. But 3 days ago, you were their everything. And it's not just bipolarism. It really is a passive aggressive movement that they have within themselves, because somewhere within their own thinking, it's not that they have decided you're not the one for them to engage. It's that whatever was provided for them in terms of their own perception in their head, you no longer provide it. So it has nothing to do with you. It's their own perception. And if a man, for example, feels like you are doing something contrary to what he wants, and or you remind him of something he doesn't want, but he wants to see if he can win through the process, he'll stick with you as long as he can until he feels like he's been able to overcome the thing he hasn't been able to overcome in the past. In layman's terms, a passive-aggressive person will always have a hidden hostility to what they do. For example, they're the people that over explain why they haven't gotten you a birthday gift, but you guys are in a relationship together. And, but they know also that you like gifts. This is the person that will not only say, I didn't get you a gift, but they will be mean about it. They will attack you for even questioning the fact that you have asked about a gift. It's like, well, and they're like, well, don't put me like all the other men. I'm going to do what I want to do for you. But it's not about what you want to do for me. It's what you know that I like. So if you're not able to attend to even what you know I like, then what are you really saying? That's that hidden hostility. There it is. The hidden passive aggressive man who loves you, but not really loves you in the sense that he wants you for you. He wants the notification that he himself can get you. But once he gets you, he don't want you. He just wanted to know he can get you. Oh, and once he gets you, not necessarily sex, just the fact that he can be able to brand, I'm with her. Brand, I'm walking with her. She's with me. But it's never about that. He wants an intimate, ongoing relationship with you. And so the reason why I think this topic is powerful, because I see a lot of passive aggressiveness happening in our interaction. I had a powerful conversation with my pastor and bishop yesterday and his wife. She's a quiet storm, powerful, intellectual. She's awesome. And Bishop Marcus Burns is my pastor. And his wife is Lady Sherry Burns, smart. And we do a lot of fellowshipping after church, which I love. I love. Especially when we have a second service. And so we go downstairs and we eat and all of that. And I was sitting at the table and we were talking about relationships. And my bishop said something. And he talked about how when he was in pursuit of his wife and certain things he wrote down that she had to have. And interestingly enough, and I will be having Lady Sherry to attend my book signing next month, February. I'll be having my Sister Check book signing. And I pray that you guys come because it's going to be wild, powerful, and life-changing. But she said something. She said, I would ask the guy a bunch of questions. And if he said yes to any of those initial 6 or 7 questions, I never talked to him again because the yeses were indicative of the fact that I didn't want him. I needed no's. Like, for example, if he said, yes, I already have kids, she already knew. I don't want nobody that already has kids. And this is 30 years ago, her dating, but it's still relevant today for whatever purposes. And so she said, if he said yes to whatever else her value system was, and she needed it to be a no, she let him finish all the questions, but she made no qualms. She never talked to him again. She said, it's not her job as a woman to change him to be perfected for her. It is her job to come up to someone who already has those fit answers. Now, just because you have the answers don't mean you have all the other things. But I do need the initial answers to be in place. And I thought, how powerful. Then my bishop said something. He said, today, because I was asking some questions. I'm like, I'm single. What's up? And so he said, let me share something that I think is happening. And this is the truth about passive aggressive people too. He said this. He said the new form of men's hands being up underneath a woman's dress is through texting and through talking. He said a man will always know how far they can go with a woman based on what he says to her in a text message and what she responds back. If a man sends a woman a text message, it is all out of left field, and she doesn't respond, then that man knows she ain't the one. And he's either going to come back correct or he won't ever, attach himself to her. Now, if the woman responds to that off field, left field, then the man knows I can put my hands up underneath her dress because she's already told me through text messaging that I can. Isn't that powerful? Now, how we segue this whole scenario of relationships, because that's where we see passive aggressive behaviors the most, is in relationships with men and women or in other things. People are passive aggressive about their life. their business, getting up and going to do something, making something happen. I even see Christians being passive aggressive. They often say, well, I'm waiting on the Lord to tell me my next steps. And I'm saying to myself, you mean to tell me God's got to tell you whether or not you need to go to college? You don't have the skills that you need in order to do what you need to do in order to have what you say you want. God's not going to tell you that you need to go to college. You might have to ask him, God, what school should I go to? But the application of asking and then the appropriation of taking action through faith by looking up the 4 schools, UC Berkeley, UC Davis, Cal State East Bay, and then applying to all of them, and then letting the process weed itself out and making a decision across the board that if I get accepted here, this is what I have to do for my life to change this. If I get accepted here, we don't have to wait on God for that. That's a passive aggressive Christian, waiting for something else to happen and unconsciously looking for the demise of it. You set yourself up for failure. And so then the Christian operates in hostile ways toward those who are getting up and making it happen, right? So as you think about this whole hidden hostility, one of the things that I want you to understand that I think is so powerful, let me just go to my page, that I thought was so incredibly fascinating to me. And let me just look up something for you guys that I looked up that I thought, whoa, now this is interesting, that I saw. One of the things that I want you to consider about passive aggressive behaviors is that it's subtle, but they always tell you their agenda. Passive aggressive behaviors looks like this, even in friendship. You got a degree, for example. Let's say you got a degree. Your friend knows that you have a degree. So this is what passive aggressive behavior looks like in your friendship conversation. The girlfriend comes up to you and says, wow, you were able to secure that type of job and make that kind of money? Even though you have a degree, you were still able to do that? That's passive aggressive. They're subtly telling you something that they're not telling you. You mean to tell me that you're going to try to quote unquote compliment me about saying, oh, you know, you got this job and you making this amount of money. Oh, and you do have a degree. Like, really, none of it matters, right? Or let's take it a little bit deeper. The person decides to say, hey, a difficult experience takes place. And you are, let's say at the church, for example, and a really blow up situation happens between maybe you and the pastor. And what happens is you're telling the pastor, okay, this is the way that we could do it. You asked me for my thoughts, my opinion. And then the pastor says, okay, great. That's no problem. Go ahead and you can go ahead and do it. And then you start to implement what he said that you can implement, or she said. And you start to implement it. And then what happens is over the pulpit, rather than them addressing the fact that they hate what you've implemented or they didn't want you to do it in the first place, they get over the pulpit and they preach on you. And they say, you know, you got people running around here implementing stuff and thinking that it's all great. And they haven't checked in and this, that, and the other. You're looking like, wait, is he talking about me? Yeah, you know he's talking about you because he's giving you the scenario of the experience for which you have been with them, but he's not coming or she's not coming directly to you. So when you think about passive aggressive people, it's when they indirectly speak something directly to you. And those are dangerous people, right? Those are dangerous people. Totally dangerous people. And what you have to watch about them is they're pathological also. Very pathological, unpredictable. And if they haven't checked that psychological arena in their life, they will create such havoc in every place that they go. And the reason why I'm bringing up these topics, because I want you to start to look at, are you a passive aggressive person? Forget thinking about somebody else who might be. I want to know, are you a passive aggressive person? So let's take a look to find out. Number one, the one aspect about passive aggressiveness is that they're always looking to try to respond and or change the past wrongs in their life. So when they connect with somebody, they're not necessarily connecting with them to be better. They're only trying to win score for themselves, not necessarily to build anything. Which is why sometimes when we get in relationships with some people, you never feel like it's actually building up to anything. It's always implosive or explosive. It's because they're not coming to the table to actually build. They're coming to the table to win score. And their score is not with you. Their score is with themselves, which is a selfish son of a ooh, 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 ooh. Don't get with me to win score from a past wrongdoing with somebody else. You do that on your own time. When you get in a relationship with me, or I'm sure for any of you guys out there, you want people that say, I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm with you. You with me. What's your values? Where you're at? What is God for you? What's God for me? What do you bring to the table? What do I bring to the table? Are you good at managing what you do? Should I manage it all? Let's get down to the real. Don't come here because you want to win score from an ex-wife that was abusive to you, and then you meet me who I'm not. I'm all in loving you, and you don't know how to handle it, so you treat me passive aggressively. Get out of here. Or vice versa. Maybe it's a man that's been treated wrong by a wife, and then they get with a woman, and all he wants to do is treat her good, but the woman treats him bad because she came from bad. And I think we have to just begin to look at these passive aggressive behaviors and really deal with it. You know, people say it's so difficult to find a mate. And as I was listening to my bishop talk yesterday and First Lady, and I said, could y'all just pour wisdom on me? And I'm not looking for anything. I am very, very content. I really am. I really got a revelation about my life, and I'm content. I said, but there's a place for everything. And we have to make sure that we don't cater to passive aggressive people and that we aren't passive aggressive people, right? And contrary to belief, as women and as men, you have to make sure that people don't accept you for what it is you do. I may be the people's therapist, but trust me, I want to be someone's wife. And the man that knows that and sees that, he will pursue it and understand that while I may be all these things for the world, they will clearly know without a doubt and won't be intimidated that I am what I need to be for him. And I won't have to explain what that thing is. Because when you start getting to explaining, you might be dealing with a passive aggressive man. If you have to start explaining who you are and what you are, or vice versa, or a passive aggressive woman, and they are vindictive. Passive aggressive women, they are just woo. And so we want to make sure that we're not carrying behavioral traits that cause us to lose out. And I've had enough of setbacks in a variety of areas of my life to realize that some of the setbacks is because I don't recognize what I need to see until it's too late. And what I mean by that, that's even in business deals. I may be like, oh, wow, I should have asked for $3,000. I asked for $1,500. So why should I be mad that the other person took the other $1,500 off the table? Because I never asked. Brian Tracy said that if you want to be great for your future, you have to understand how to confidently ask for what you want right now. You have to confidently learn how to ask. And most passive aggressive people, they never ask, but they're always demanding. I'm going to say it again. Passive aggressive people, because remember, they silently will talk to you. But passive aggressive people, they will never ask you for stuff directly, but they will always demand it. And it's the demand that creates the hidden hostility. It's the demand that's controlling. Oh, help me, Lord. The demand. It's these kind of people. Watch this. It's the situation where he wants you to find, let's say he wants you to find a place to stay. And he says, hey, we're going to get a place to stay. You go look for it and this and the other. But you remind him that, hey, you want me to find a place for us to stay, but we're not married. So you bring that up to him because he conveniently forgot. This is a situation that I have known of someone that had did this, and that you forgot that we're not married, so you want me to find a place. And so when you, as the woman, bring up a way, you want me to find a place, but we're not married. And then their passive aggressive hostility then said, well, just find the place, and then you move into it, and then go from there and then I'll follow up. But when you start challenging and asking him the questions that you as a woman should, as I shared with this person, you as the woman should ask, because your everything is on the line. Especially if you are a Christian, a believer, a man wants you to find a place and wants you to move in. Is he not going to move in? I think not. I think that he'll find a way to find himself moving into that place. So then you got a place without a husband and a man that's 2 steps from wanting to move into that place. All of these things. And then you start asking him questions. Then his passive aggressive behavior comes out in neglect, dismissal, disregard. So when you ask them questions, they ignore you. They won't respond back to you via text. The person has shared with me that he wouldn't do things that he said he would do. All of these things. I said, well, if he was willing to do that before y'all got married, what in the world do you really think you was married? So, of course, the individual did not go that route, but that's a great form of passive-aggressive behavior. They will not ask you, they'll kind of ask you indirectly, but they'll always demand from you. They'll always demand you to perform, but they will not line up to perform. And that's male or female, okay? So, what I want you to think about is, are you the babysitter rescuer? Oh boy. This person, if you're the babysit rescuer, it means you become the partner. You become the caretaker, constantly cleaning up after your partner's misdeeds and undoings, or his or her damage to their lifestyle. You rescue your partner from being a victim of a crisis. So you're always rescuing them. If you find yourself being a babysitter or a rescuer, you probably, in your relationship, you probably have a passive aggressive person that's on the other side of your relationship. So that's just one. The next person is called the coach and the judge. This is where you are your partner's critic. Watch this. Berating them for not taking responsibility. Now watch this. Of high expectations that you have set for them when you know that they're not going to meet them, because they've already shown you that they have no desire to meet your expectations. But you still operate like a coach and a judge because you want them to do something they never had an intention to do. Are you the coach? Are you the judge? I just want to know. Are you dealing with a passive-aggressive person and now you become the coach and the judge? You berate him, you get all out of your own character. Anytime you got to get out of your character, women, you have lost track of who you are. You've lost your identity. We should never have to get out of our identity. We should never get out of who we are to be with someone. Never. Ever. Our alter ego should only be for those who we marry, not for those who we're dating. I believe we all have an alter ego. I believe we all do some crazy stuff. Do your crazy stuff with your husband, not the guy you're dating or the guy that's still married or the guy that's still whatever. You have got, and I'm telling you, the book signing next month for Sister Check is going to blow your mind. It is going to blow your mind because we've got to recalibrate what we're inviting in our lives, especially Christian women. Do you know that talking, texting is all a form of intimacy? And what happens is most men want you to give them intimacy before they give you commitment. And we give it to them by being readily available when they want to talk, chit chat, call, or whatever. But what happens with passive aggressive men is the moment that you show any sign of affection, or you may just call them out the blue, something that maybe you haven't done, they turn on you immediately. They don't respond to your call. They wait really long before your text because it was never, ever about you guys becoming one. It was always about him correcting the wrongdoings of a previous thing. And that's real talk, right? So the passive aggressive man comes in many different forms, and they are definitely in the church, okay? And I love men, and I love our men that are in the church, and I love the men of God that are all over the place. But we've got to look at these passive aggressive behaviors because they're damaging people's relationships, and they're damaging the exchange of purity as it pertains to building something great. Building something great. The other person I want to find out, and I'll stop here to find out, are you the passive sufferer? Let me tell you what that is. This is the person that's in a relationship and you are indulging in the conversation of the passive aggressive person, and you already see behaviors and patterns that don't match. But what happens is you never correct the subversive behavior, so to the point where now that passive aggressive person in the relationship thinks that not only is it okay, but now thinks that you are a part of the scheme of righting his wrong. So are you the passive sufferer? You suffer at the hand of not correcting what is just right in front of your face? And most people are, because passive aggressive people have been passive aggressive for a very long time. It is not that they cannot change, but you are not going to be changing in a day. You are going to have passive aggressive behaviors as long as you are unwilling to be truthful about the fact that you need to make some change. And that's male or female. Male or female. And so, and let me just say this as a caveat. This is really important. I see this passive aggressive person a lot. I see it a lot, and I in the church, because we hide people through scripture, through past hurts, through prayer. And the truth of the matter is, as men and women, just deal with us directly. Do it like the Bible said. You got a problem with me, come to me. If you've been in a relationship with a guy for a year and you question like, well, wait a minute, you haven't called me 3 or 4 days, I haven't heard from you, text you, and they get all up in arms about that, something is wrong right then. I don't care. I don't care what they say. I don't care if they say their phone was lost or whatever. We're in a relationship, a monogamous one-on-one relationship. And you mean to tell me you couldn't contact me in 4 days, 5 days? Now, if we're not in a relationship, then that's something else we have to deal with. And maybe that's what you're trying to tell me. So that's that passive aggressive spirit. They tell you without telling you. And that's what you have to tell them by telling them. Then since you have demonstrated to me that we're not in a relationship, then I want to let you know that we aren't in a relationship, and that henceforth going forward, anything that pertains to that of an intimate like relationship is null and void. And it's when you say that you really will see the hostility in a passive aggressive person. And I want you to get clear that when you see it, you don't have the strength to deal with a passive aggressive person by yourself. You cannot win them over, and you cannot change their behavior. And the reason why you can't is because they are hell-bent on righting a wrong that may have nothing to do with you. I know there's some men that like to get with strong women, independent women, just so they can say they've been with an independent woman, but they have no desire to actually be with an independent woman. And you know what ends up happening? That passive aggressive man that does that, and he has that kind of behavioral pattern, what he'll end up telling that woman is, you are a lot. You are a lot. I can't reach you. They'll tell you, I can't reach you. You're so busy. They'll start throwing that in there. But it's interesting that I'm so busy. You're so busy. The woman's so busy, or the man, vice versa, is so busy. But when you contact me, I'm available. So it really is not that you're busy. That man is telling you, without telling you, in his passive aggressive way, that he doesn't want to deal with you in the way that you want to be dealt with. And then you have to make a decision. Then let's not deal. And it's okay. And we don't have to be bitter, But I don't have to be in the web of being a passive sufferer or a coach or critic or the second one that we talked about, which was the babysitter. I don't have to be any of those. All at the end of the day that we want to be is good and healthy in our relationships. And in order for that to happen, we have to be willing to look at what we're really, really bringing to the table. Okay, it's so very important. And I wasn't sure if I was going to do this particular topic today because I have the topics laid out. But I really feel like that passive aggressive spirit is a dangerous thing. And it's really the thing that you and I are fighting against when we are entering into relationships. I believe that 500,000%. And I believe that when we don't identify what the passive aggressive behavioral person moves like, operates like, then we're caught in their web and then we're made to feel like it's us. Now, granted, some of us women can use a little bit of critical feedback. But the feedback that you give me, if you are a man, should never denigrate me. It should never frustrate the grace of my femininity. It should never create an obstacle for me to be able to be freely me. The moment that that happens is the moment that you have absolutely told me what you really want to tell me. And that is, I need to leave you alone. I believe that when we properly exchange a level of reciprocity, of love, respect in a relationship, we are not going to indirectly try to tell people stuff that we just need to be grown and mature, open our mouths, and tell people. And something that my sister said, Marilyn, one of my best friends, we were talking and she said something powerful, and I'll leave this with you. She said that at the juncture that we're all living in whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's a relationship, a business, going back to school, whatever we're going to do, we got to be straight up about it. You're entering into a relationship with a man. If you know where you are as a woman that, hey, I don't want to do a lot of random dating. I don't mind it. But then there's a period of season of your time where you're like, I don't want to just randomly date. This is not that season for me. Whatever it is, spell it out. At least they will know. And they can tell you, you know what, I just want to date. Can we date for 6 weeks? Can we date for 6 months? At least you have a game plan. If they're unwilling to tell you what the game plan is, you're going to be frustrated. Because by month 3, it's going to look some other kind of way because their passive aggressive behavioral way is going to show up because they didn't show up properly when you first talked about what you needed. So do yourself a favor and make sure you're clear out the gate. And when you get their answer, believe them. I pray that this Mental Monday on hidden hostilities of passive-aggressive people has been a blessing to you. I'm your host, Lakita Long, and it's been a real joy to talk about real issues, to bring about real solutions for real time, right now, coming near to a TV to you real soon. We are out with the purple glasses on. Blessings to you on this gracious Dr. Martin Luther King Day. Well, God bless.